Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Greetings and salutations, everybody. I want to tell 30,000 of you to F off. No. Welcome to the program, kids. Welcome, everybody. It's time once again for Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Only 15,000.
Only 15,000, yeah. And with us is Clobbering Times, my favorite orange man. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me here. Hello, buddy.
Glad to have you. We also have all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. How you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Hello to our chat, our wrenches. Great to be with a panel of greats amongst Tom, Clobby, and Script. Also, yes, I highly recommend Flip City Mag as well. I have ordered a few issues myself. We had them on as a guest on Yelling at Parked Cars, I think last summer. Very fun people to hang out with and very funny magazine to read. It's like basically Mad Magazine that they kept being good. So highly recommend it. They get my endorsement.
It's a little bit of an edge. Like,
nice.
You know.
Oh, yeah. Definitely much more of an edge. I'd say much more.
Yeah. Mad Magazine was always PG tops, maybe PG-13 at the worst. This is, this takes a little farther than that. But we also have joining us the one, the only Canadian Script Doctor.
Hello. Happy to be here this evening.
So far, you're the only Canadian, and I can live with that.
Well, it's lonely up here being the only one.
It is, and y'all are polluting our fucking air. It's all your fault.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. You didn't see this shit?
Are you talking about the forest fires?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
blaming
it
all
not the same
on
as
you.
Pollution, man. That's just a burning.
It says it's polluting our air, though. That's what it said on my computer thing. Air polluted.
How can you tell at New York City, though? That's the problem.
That's a good point. But in Wisconsin, we know. Because normally we don't have air
away
like
from
that.
Alberta, though, in Wisconsin.
Well, I still got the warnings, dude. I did. We all got the warnings. Yeah.
Paranoid.
No, it says air polluted. And it was hazy as fuck yesterday. Not as bad today, but really bad yesterday. Grand Admiral Adam, why don't you rub it in? No, I don't have 30,000 subs yet. Someday, maybe. On MEAD, we will. But you never know. Welcome, everybody, to the program. We'll see who else shows up here tonight. We got a super chat already from Zontar, who says, how long did it take you guys to think the Apple VR thing was a terrible idea? Gamers thought it was a joke. Only Silicon Valley can think of this. The thing itself, I don't think is too bad. The price, I think, is outrageous. I don't know where in the world they think anybody's going to spend that kind of money on that.
I'd only spend it if they looked like my actual glasses.
Right.
Weight, size, everything. Like, that's the only reason.
And Google Glass didn't take off. And that was
not.
Very similar. Not exactly the same, but similar. So, yeah.
It's Apple. Were we really expecting them to have a bargain of a price?
No.
That's what I mean. Like, dude, it was always going to be freaking absolutely insanely expensive to begin with. So, you know what? the 30 people who can afford it will buy it, and well, I guess time will tell if they actually.
I'll just
maintain
wait till it's
usage or not.
half that, or they have
Yeah.
Apple
Yeah,
Light.
even its half off price will probably still be a freaking arm and a leg.
$12.50.
Yeah, it's not worth it right now. I mean, the battery life is only 2 hours. And given the fact that a lot of movies are beyond 2 hours right now, you're never going to be able to.
I was just gonna make that joke. You can't watch any of the new movies then.
Yeah.
Unless
Well,
you
not
want to
that
watch
you want to,
Renfield or Mario Brothers, then you're okay.
Yeah.
Which Renfield came out on video today, so I recommend that, guys, if you haven't had a chance to see that.
Oh yeah, I've been watching.
So did Mario Brothers,
yeah. I've been
Streaming?
wanting to watch
That's a
Renfield.
video.
Oh, it's been on
Streaming
streaming for a little while, but like, yeah, it might be on Peacock soon, I would imagine. The
Don't have
Blu-ray
that.
actually dropped today,
Oh,
though.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Nick
Oh,
Cage's
did it?
latest
Okay,
film.
good. I do want to watch Renfield. I remember liking the trailer to that.
What were you saying, Script?
Oh, Nick Cage also trailer for his new film dropped today as well.
Ooh,
Which one?
Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah,
They filmed
he was working on that.
They filmed Renfield down here. We sold them a vehicle for their production.
yeah?
Cool.
Cool.
I'll say my brother's lot did.
You never told us that. You had a connection. That's awesome.
We sold them some kind of couple of vehicles. I forget what it was, but they told him about it after it was made. After it was made, I think.
Oh,
You
okay.
should have offered to have had his face off.
I learned about it after they
In
already
exchange.
sold it. I just go by there every once in a while and talk to him. So that's my brother's place. They make a lot of movies down here.
Yeah, this looks like a crazy Nick Cage action flick kind of thingy. Or like a...
Well, it's like that Tom Cruise
action, but,
and Jimmy Fox.
That's what I was trying to think of, yeah. What the hell
Collateral.
is it called? Collateral, yeah.
The Arnold movie Collateral. Oh, hold on, that's Tom Cruise.
No. The one with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise, yeah.
Yeah.
Except he's just Nicolas Caged up.
Yeah.
Academy Award winner.
He kind of looks like he's being Edward Norton from the 90s.
He's got the similar facial hair that Edward Norton had with the
the same facial hair and hair from the 90s, yeah.
Oh yeah. Now I can't unsee it. Now all I see is Edward Norton. Now, damn it.
Like Edward Norton in The Italian Job, basically.
When is he gonna do a sequel to Con Air?
Oh, that'd be awesome. I think he's mentioned it, like if they're up, if it ever comes up, I'm sure he'd be up
Cameron
for it.
I would
But like, what would you do though?
He can team up with that bring that nut job John. What's his face that was in the film with him? The kid.
Yeah, but what convoluted thing would you have to have him do
I
to
don't
be
know.
brought back in on this? And after the first Con Air, would they really do another Con Air? Because I mean, I guess that's what it would have to be about, is the new improved Con Air.
Well,
Now
what
they
won't
won't
they
make the
bring
same
back?
mistakes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, what won't they bring back?
Well, Script Doctor, is
Right.
that a good idea or a bad idea?
Sequels are never a bad idea unless there's a bad idea for a sequel.
And this
Yeah,
one
'cause-
might be it.
Script have always thought that the problem with sequels is some of them don't lend themselves to further adventures, but some do. Depends on the characters, right?
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, you
that's
could do a Con Air without any of the original cast, but it still has to be really, really good. Like, that's the problem. You can't let it be supported as a crutch because Nick Cage is coming back or John Malkovich or whatever, what have you.
He
You've
fucked
got
John
to-
Cusack, so
Yeah, Cusack. Those two. It doesn't even have to be
I don't
resemble
want
the
John
first one.
Cusack back.
Other than having those two, but if you had those two characters 20-something years later, I don't know.
The beauty of it is
I'm not
Cusack would probably be
advocating it.
retired by now as a cop, so like you could at least play that into it. Like, we don't need Cusack. But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If you could come up with a good idea to get Nicolas Cage in a situation where, like, because that's the whole thing. A movie like Con Air at the end, you're going like, okay, they won't ever do that again.
Right, that was a dumb thing that they did. It
was a dumb
bad
idea.
premise anyway. Yeah.
I know Cage is interested in some of the stuff that me and a writing partner have worked on because we've been in talks with his people. In fact, we learned about this movie last year before it was even announced because we were talking with his people. And there's always a possibility. He likes the stuff we've sent him. So if we can come up with something, I think we could probably get it. But again, that's going to have to happen after WGA.
Yeah, about like Cameron Poe went on with his life, and unlike all these other movies, they don't make him into a degenerate bum who turns into just another criminal. And he has a nice family man for 20 something years.
You'd
and then
almost have
something
to set
happens.
him up, which is kind of
Then something
convoluted.
happens to him
But
bad to his family, and he has to fight for them.
it would
Rather
either
than
have
being
to,
like, just degenerating into a criminal again, all that other kind of crap.
Maybe
Well,
it's
that's
an
what I'm
all
saying.
women's Con Air, and it's his daughter that he has to rescue.
well, I was going to say
cons really. But good.
either he gets set up by somebody and put back in prison, or something goes down that they know something's going to happen on this next Con Air ride that they want him on as like an undercover agent kind of thing.
Like,
That's
let's
the only
take the
couple
premise
ways.
of The Rock and put it in Con
Yeah,
Air, but Nick Cage
kind
is
of.
now the Sean Connery role.
Basically,
say-
I mean, there's no other real way of doing it because otherwise, like I said, Con Air is a dumb idea to begin with. Like,
Right.
Yes.
It
the
is.
first movie proved it. I mean, the
But
movie's
it's
good.
Such a good
But I mean,
movie.
I know,
It's not
so good.
let me
Right.
tell you what I mean by dumb idea. Con Air as itself, as a legitimate idea, is dumb.
It was dumb to put all those convicts on that plane.
Exactly my point. Yes, that's my point. The movie itself was fun, but the idea of that is kind of pretty dumb.
But I'm talking about just bringing the characters back. And
Kind of like
anything to
Die
do with
Hard
it,
2. Like, why the fuck would you move an important person like that on Christmas Eve?
with two guys, like three guys.
All right,
Makes
so
no
we can't do
sense.
Con Air. Let's do Con C. So it's they're all on a boat.
Yes, there you go. Better yet. No.
But he's more about
Doesn't
They're being
have to
ferried. They're being ferried to Rikers Island, and it doesn't take too long. But they take over the boat and try to make it. For,
Yeah, some pirates
the Hudson.
hijack the boat or something. Yeah.
I wouldn't even try to be like the first
He's
film.
a
I would
captain
have him
now.
be a regular guy who's had a family and all that kind of stuff, and everything's fine. And he ends up getting in a situation, that
Well, that's where I said that's
has
where they have
nothing
to
to
like
do
bring
with
him
it,
in.
yeah.
Considering he's got a military background, you can
Right.
almost legitimately say, okay, they know something's going to go down on this Con Cruise, and yeah, Con Cruise does not work for the title though. We got to come up with something better than that.
no cons, no
Aquacon.
pros either.
Yes, I agree.
Aquacon.
They're on a submarine because they're afraid that the actual ferry is going to be taken over. So now they have to take over.
Now we're in a Con
Now
sub.
they're in a sub. Yeah. Now they're prisoners in a sub.
Well,
No, there you go.
Lord knows they won't let men be men anyway in
stuff
movies
too.
because we're going
No.
to talk about Disney censoring classic films actually. In a minute
No,
here.
they've already done that before. What do you
They
think
have.
How is it so different from what they've done anyway?
It's
anyway,
not,
at
but
that
it's
time?
something that needs to keep being brought up because they keep doing it, and also to bring it to people's attention, and it needs to be discussed. But we've got Liquid Metal Rob. That's like
Hey.
like one of those puppets from
Liquid
like
Metal.
That's a Super
looks like a-
Marionation puppet from
Yeah.
Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I think that's Joe 90.
That's what I was thinking. I'm glad things are going bad for Campion now. I watched Captain Marvel based on his recommendation. His subs are leaving because he's corrupt and lies. Honestly, I'm not so sure he's losing any subs so much as just nobody's watching him anymore to begin with. I think anybody who's going to vacate him vacates him. Like, people don't actively unsub very often unless there's a good reason to. And if people aren't unsubbing, that means they're probably not watching you. Because that's what we noticed is like a lot of his clips.
Oh,
We
it's
get more
Brian.
views over here.
Oh, yeah. It's Brains from Thunderbird. Sorry, Diva.
Well,
Yeah.
well, close enough.
Close enough. It was Jerry Anderson.
Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, I kind of have a ton of respect for Nick Cage. He has mentioned how he made a bad investment and took every role he could to pay his debts. Explains a lot. Wasn't he sucked up in that? Wasn't he one of the people that lost a bunch of his money? I'm trying to remember the guy. It was the Bernie Madoff deal or something. Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't he part of that, or is that something else?
I don't know if he's part of that.
I know
all
he had to
is that
pay
he purchased a
taxes,
dinosaur
but-
head.
Yeah, he purchased a dinosaur head and some other things. Yeah, he did have a
Spent a lot of
Superman
money.
#1 or Action Comics #1. I know that.
He had a lot of comics. He had a lot.
I
of
believe he
comics.
sold his for like it was over $1
Every
million. I
Fantastic
think it
Four.
was
Yeah. Yep.
because he's a comic protector.
Nick Cage, like,
He's Ghost Rider.
I'm Ghost Rider.
Oh, mean, like,
Nick Cage just goes right.
he was supposed to be like 28 in that movie, but he was like already
Oh,
45 or
man.
something.
Nicolas
Like,
Cage can do anything.
Dude, he
That's
was.
all that
I thought it
matters.
was like 50.
I mean, Johnny Blaze, the character, was like
I
28 or
remember-
something.
Nicolas
When,
Cage is even cool when he's
The
drunk. Did you
Spirit
guys see that
Vengeance,
video of him
was
in?
the sequel?
Yes. basically Terminator
I'm
2 all
Spirit
over
of
again.
Vengeance.
Spirit
I'm
of
like,
Vengeance. Yeah.
this is gonna be bad, and it's so bad to watch. But there's a part of me that is entertained by it.
As long as you just
it's
accept
not
it for what it is,
film, but great.
it's just basically a ripoff of Terminator 2 at the end of the day. It's all it is.
Oh, absolutely. You're right
You're-
on that. You're dead on.
Is it me breaking up or is Nick breaking up?
I'm here.
You were getting
You
clicky
hear
for me.
me?
It might have been my internet. I'm just making sure. Pinochet's helicopter tour says Con Air 2, he returns to The Rock with a prom queen. That's right. Because
Yes.
winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
That's right.
Scott Hughes says sounds like Speed 2. I know that was kind of the joke, I think.
I call it Speed 2 First Gear. Not a garbage movie that was.
Oh, Lord.
Crap, man.
I never watched Speed 2. Never have.
I was dumb enough to go to the theater when it came out for some reason.
I think I've only
I'm
seen
like-
like an ending clip on like
So
internet
no.
or channel surfing where the
no.
boat just crashes into the city.
There's no speed in it. That boat crash. You got to see the boat crash scene though, because that's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in a movie. It feels like it lasts 20 minutes, going like at like turtle pace, crashing into these docks, knocking all these buildings down and stuff. It felt like it goes on for 20 minutes. Maybe I'm sure it didn't, but it felt like it. It's so bad. This movie is awful.
Okay, Campia is live right now. Six just sent this to me. Campia is live right now.
Mhm.
We have over half as many people
Okay.
watching as he does.
Wow.
No,
I mean,
People watch him.
cool.
does he have?
Maybe-
He still has like 300 plus some subs. His sub count hasn't really changed. That's the other thing that I'm wondering about.
Well, it takes
If
a
you
lot
just-
of effort to unclick the sub.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, that's what I was saying before script is like, I just don't think people care anymore.
No.
Waltman says, how are we feeling about Captain America Brave New World? Also, I would be shocked if Hollywood tries making a movie about Rommel's 7th Panzer Division. Well, we can't even talk about the first original title or we'll get flagged on YouTube. I don't know if you saw Ryan Kinnell got flagged for talking about it.
What about what?
If you say the original
Really?
title of the original Captain America movie, yeah, because they
You mean the
could
one
see it
that's
as a-
based off of wrestling?
Yes. Yes. Don't say it, please, because you get flagged, evidently.
Really?
Because it's seen as conspiratory.
Hollywood's
YouTube's
original title
algorithm.
for the movie.
And their new title
I
isn't.
know, but it's
The
the
new title,
algorithm.
Brave New World,
You
is
mean
it?
for the first
There's
movie,
a
the first Cap
book
movie?
called Brave New World and another book called 1984.
No.
That's right, it's
The
not
original
called
title for
the
this
GR.
movie.
We'll just say GR.
I'll type it in the
Oh.
background. Okay.
Oh no, I know
yeah.
what it is now.
Oh, now you know what I'm talking about?
typing
Okay.
What
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought was going to be in the
I remember now.
background.
You can't say that. Yeah. Well,
No.
unless they think
I
you're Bush
I-
the elder.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah,
See,
Ryan
that's what-
Kinnell
when I
got
saw Brave
flagged
New
for it.
World,
Wow. No, it's and the world
Wow.
word is in it. The word world is in it, but yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah,
I hadn't
NWO
heard
is
about
probably
that.
the closest we could say to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The wrestling reference is probably the easiest one.
Just remember, think
So,
Bush Senior.
what happens if Kevin Nash is doing an interview on YouTube and he mentions when he says the name word for word? Does Kevin Nash?
As long
or
as it's
whoever
not us,
challenge
they're
on-
probably fine. As long as it ain't us, they're probably
Wow.
fine. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
It's just an algorithm. But speaking of Marvel and all that business, Chris Hemsworth admits Thor 4 sucked.
Now, because everyone hated it, he goes, well, yeah, yeah.
Calls Scorsese and Tarantino's Marvel criticism super depressing. I guess they're not fans of me. Well, no, they're just not fans of this crap, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't hear him saying this shit back in 78 about Superman or Batman or even Spider-Man. No, it's the fact that when Tarantino flat out said it, it's like every major movie that comes out now is a superhero movie or some IP of some kind. He's like, kids wouldn't know what to do with a movie like Taxi Driver now.
Nope. That's what I know. I was thinking about that because when you think about a movie like The Godfather, which is a longer-ish movie, and then you look at the TikTok generation, and I'm like, they barely get by watching clips on TikTok. And how are they supposed to sit through a movie that has a build of a bunch of dudes talking, especially very anti-PC like throughout all of Goodfellas? Man, Goodfellas just wouldn't work for that generation, even if you released it as is without any changes.
Sad part is most people don't remember, but Goodfellas half-ass flopped when it first came out. Wasn't until it like won the Oscar that people paid attention to it again. But yeah, no, Chris is out here. He's depressed about this, I guess. I think we just had too much fun. It just became too silly, Hemsworth said about the movie. It's always hard being in the center of it and having any real perspective. I love the process. It's always a ride, but you just don't know how people are going to respond. Well, remember, I had that little clip where they said they sacrificed story for jokes. That was part of the problem. We thought this one had too much humor. The action was cool, but the VFX weren't as good. I cringe and laugh equally at it. So he's admitting it sucked.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of knew he felt this way when he made that. What was that statement he made a little while back that he'll never work with these weird auteur directors again?
Yeah,
and he had just made 2 movies with Taika Waititi.
He said he didn't want to work with Taika Waititi unless there was a different change, which is weird because I remember a few weeks before the movie came out, he said he would work with him again, and then the box office results happened, and then it became he doesn't want to work with Taika Waititi again, and now it seems like he's hanging on to that statement, and well, he obviously is saying what we all know, and yeah, it's unfortunate because I like how he looks as Thor, and I rewatched the first Thor a few months ago. It makes you realize how much his personality changed, and it's not like one of those like character development personality changes. Like you don't even recognize him by his personality because you could like Iron Man had the perfect character growth from the beginning of Avengers to the end of Avengers, yet we would still recognize him as the same character in movies to follow because he was accused by Cap as being the guy who would when they were having that argument. And then he is the guy who ultimately sacrificed himself at the end against the Chitauri and Loki. You saw Iron Man go through his moment of growth there. And yeah, once again, you still recognize Stark, but Thor, you didn't even recognize him. It's because he became Chris Hemsworth. And that's unfortunate.
Yep. About it, yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, and then his response to Tarantino and Scorsese is part of the Marvelization of Hollywood is you have all these actors who have become famous playing these characters, Tarantino said on the Two Bears, One Cave podcast. But they're not the same. They're not movie stars, right? Captain America is the star or Thor is the star. I mean, I'm not the first person to say that. I think that
Anthony Mackie was
said a zillion times. Yep. But it's like, it's these franchise characters that become a star. And he said that's in response to that, Hemsworth said, that's super depressing when I hear that. There goes 2 of my heroes I won't work with. I guess they're not a fan of me. Well, they didn't say that necessarily. No. I don't know. They may not after you said that, but
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Nothing
well, I think
there, Chris.
The reason I brought this up is because they do get into a bit more in here. They talk about the struggles that Marvel's had of late in this paragraph here, and that's kind of the bigger thing is that they're starting to admit it between this kind of article and we recently had the Kathleen Kennedy article where Tony Gilroy was speaking out about how she feels about being attacked by the fans or whatever. So I wonder if things are going to start changing over there. We doubt it, but we'll see. We know they're not going to stop censoring things because this has not been a new thing for Disney. As we've talked about before, they censored Splash and a couple other things in the past.
Got rid of Song of the South.
Of course, Song of the South and Completion. There's been a few bits and pieces here and there from scenes that they have removed. And somebody who knows a thing or two about that is Culture Casino. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? So,
it's going. How you doing?
I'm good.
He's on the road.
Still on the road again. That's right. Yeah.
Nice hat.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to show everybody these. I do. It's very true. OMGTC. But no, hi everybody. I'm checking in from the road. I made it into New Mexico now. And I'm benefiting from lots of construction because of the infrastructure expansion. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What's going on? I heard you guys in the background just a little bit.
Well, we're just moving on to some more Disney shenanigans. It seems that it has come to our attention. This was a story from Jeffrey Wells originally, it looks like. Robert Meyer Burnett found it, and since then it's been shared by myself, Bill Hunt, quite a few others.
Oh, wow.
And it turns out that the streaming version of The French Connection, specifically on the Criterion channel, and I don't know if anybody's checked it other places, has been edited and badly. And not only that, I guess this is also the same version that's been shown in some theatrical re-releases. I don't know how familiar you are with the film, but it's a classic. I've seen it quite a few times. In fact, I just watched it the other night because of this crap. But the line that has been removed is right early on in the film. So I don't know if you had heard about this, but we were just talking about how this was not new for Disney. They have censored a lot of stuff in their past. From their animated films and otherwise. Talked about Splash.
What line? What line did they remove? What line was it specifically?
Okay, well, for context, the movie starts out with Popeye Doyle, Gene Hackman's character, dressed as Santa Claus undercover, and Roy Scheider and him are staking out this guy because they're narcotics cops. And they chase him down in an alley and they kick the crap out of him. But he pulls a knife and slices Roy Scheider's character, Cloudy. And when they get back to the station, he's griping about it. And he goes, well, you dumb slur for Italian person. You never trust an N-word. And he goes, he could have been white. He goes, yeah, exactly. You don't trust anybody. That's the line. So they cut that whole thing out and it jump cuts, I guess, from the way it works.
Wow.
And it's horrible.
Well,
but again, it's just more of the same shit out of Disney, right? Like, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. So if I were a creator, right, of any kind, and I were working or looking to work in or with Hollywood, the last thing I would do would be allow them to edit anything. I would have it clearly in my contract that, I get final say, because there's no other way to go about getting your actual message out into the world that to have that kind of authority. It's J.K. Rowling had a certain level of approval that she was granted, and along with that, I would ask specifically that for them to include in there that they will never edit the work afterwards, that it can never be edited, because you can't lose the historical context of the time, and that falls within the historical context of the time. Right. I'm not going to defend it, and I'm not going to. Well, I'm not going to get. Oh, go ahead.
We're waiting with bated breath to see if William Friedkin says anything about this, because I can almost guess what Mr. Friedkin is going to say about this.
Yeah.
He's going to say, "What the fuck are you doing? Popeye Doyle is a racist, rough cop. What are you doing in my movie?" That's what he'll say. He'll say, "You're fucking up the context of my film," and he will get pissed. Trust me. Once he hears about this, I guarantee you, because he is an old school, hardcore type director, that he is not going to like this at all. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. We've been tagging him endlessly for the past week to see if he says something soon. I mean, but the poor guy's like 90 years old, so he only gets online every once in a while.
When he remembers his password.
He's pretty sharp for his age still, Script. That's the thing. Like, I've seen him in a few interviews.
And remembering your passwords is very different. Two different.
This is true. This is fucking true. I can't remember half my passwords.
Yeah, I got a problem.
But I don't know if I'm very sharp either. I mean, I'm half tempted just to play the scene here, because it is so, like, I mean, it's not innocent, but it's like it's not even that bad. Like, it's never even been cut out of the TV versions up until recently. So I don't even know where the extent of this goes, but yes, the original Blu-ray is fine. It hasn't been touched, of course, but it hasn't been released in the last 10 years either. So that's the other thing.
You said, yeah, this is on a, what set is this on, or is it on just streaming, or?
This is just on streaming, I guess, and it's been shown. I guess there's been some showing of it in theaters, though.
Oh.
Have had this version that people are saying now too.
No.
Because as you see, like, the anniversary was a couple years back. So this is probably when people started noticing the change.
Get that physical.
And I guess it actually jump cuts in the middle of the shot too, because it's all one shot.
Oh God.
Or well, I think it's 2 shots, but it's like it still jumps funky because I think it's a 2-shotter and then it jumps between the two, and then because freaking shot it documentary style, so it's a lot of one camera. So. Like he just lets a lot of the shots just play out. Yeah, it's a classic. It won I think 5 Academy Awards when it came out. Gene Hackman won his Academy Award for it. Friedkin won his first Academy Award for it. I think it won for cinematography and sound and some other things.
It's huge.
Probably editing because it had the chase that had to beat Bullet, and they managed to do it.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the chicken or the character Popeye. He was called Popeye because he used to Popeye around the bars at night. And even though they keep making that joke in the second film, he gets pissy about it. Yeah.
Hackman.
Well, the question, I guess, would be if this gets a 4K release, are they going to use that edit?
Probably.
I will kick I don't think Friedkin would let him. Because he has been involved with...
He's only going to be around so long, Tom.
Yeah, and it won Best Picture, too. That's right. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
In 72. This is one of those movies, though, that is part of that era, right? Of the Godfather era that brought back movies. So, it's important. It's a very important film. People forget, this movie was big at its time, but it's still remembered today.
Right.
And clearly people are watching it or they wouldn't have noticed this.
Something does need to be said because they can't keep changing these movies all the time. And this, on top of it, should be let's just say the 800th reminder for anyone in the chat who's somehow a skeptic of physical media. This is why you don't let go of those copies. And there's plenty of ways you can maintain your physical media because YouTube has many great channels where you can learn how to maintain it, whether it's Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, VHS. There's plenty of techniques you can do to keep your copies playing nicely. So physical media is the way because there was no point with this, like where they're going to change all these movies. Like, what's the point of having these channels?
You sat on the edge of the bed and you picked your feet in Poughkeepsie, didn't you? No, it's just bullshit, man. And people are asking Disney owns the rights. Yeah, it's the Fox film. That's why. So they own the rights to it now, sadly. Fuck it. I want to play these quotes. I don't give a shit.
You should.
We'll get in trouble. Who cares?
Get to the clip. Come on.
One thing I learned. Move calmly, move cautiously. You'll never be sorry.
Look, I've been damn careful up to now.
This is why your phone lines are tapped and the feds are crawling all over you like fleas.
Hey, shithead. When's the last time you picked your feet? Huh?
What's he talking about?
I got a man in Poughkeepsie who wants to talk to you. You ever been in Poughkeepsie?
Whoa.
We got the information there's no shit on the street, right? It's like a goddamn desert full of junkies out there. Everybody waiting to get well.
That is the real Popeye doll right there.
Real life guys based on.
Yep.
Nothing there except a New York City map.
Are you bullshitting me? That car's dirty.
And it was.
Absolute dynamite. 89% pure junk.
You dumb guinea.
How
the hell did I know he had a knife?
Never trust a nigger.
He could have been white.
Never trust anyone.
Holy crap.
That's what they cut out.
I'm telling you, he'll split if we don't move. This guy's got him like that. He's everything they say he is.
What about you, Sal? Are you everything they say you are?
Pay attention. We're going to ask questions later.
Popeye, you still picking your feet in Poughkeepsie?
All right, Popeye's here.
Here.
Get your hands on your heads. Get off the bar and get on the wall.
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie.
I haven't seen that in ages.
I gotta rewatch
the sequel's even good.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I never saw the sequel. Oh.
Okay, Doba Fett says, "Yep, that clip is gone from the Amazon and Vudu versions as well. Wow. Who the fuck okayed this? I know Friedkin wouldn't have.
I think Blazing
Disney.
Saddles is on one of those. Go ahead, no.
Oh, Blazing Saddles is owned by Warner Brothers, luckily, at this point.
Yeah, but it's on one of those services I saw recently. I can't remember which one. Go ahead, Culture. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say it just started to pour rain here, so I'm gonna have to drop. But well, I'm glad I could join you guys for a few minutes and then be very disappointed in what just happened to a classic film. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, as long as you have the Fox Blu-ray, you're fine, Casperius. Take care, Culture. Drive safe, brother.
See you tomorrow, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to have Whataburger. It's going to be great.
So, yeah, I'm really disappointed in Disney as usual. Nothing new there.
In other news,
we got a couple of super chats here.
News at 11.
We got Pinochet's Helicopter Tours, who asks, will this raise the value of pre-woke physical media? I think in some cases it will. Disney is also...
Depends on the movie.
Disney has also stripped Revenge of the Nerds from all streaming services, too. I think it was on HBO Max for a little while, but you cannot buy it on Vudu, Amazon, any of those. You can still get your hands on the Blu-ray, but that was from X amount of years ago from when Fox released it. Yeah.
I saw it on Amazon. I saw it on Amazon recently.
It's still in circulation.
Revenge of the Nerds, you can still buy it. So buy your copy.
But yeah, they have totally taken it down from all the streaming or the digital video on demand platforms. It's hard to find now. You can get the second one and the third one and fourth one, but not for some reason they won't. Well, I kind of know the reasons why they won't let you have the first one, but yeah. Anyway, this is bullshit. But yet Disney won't touch Rocky Horror Picture Show or nothing you watch.
No,
so they won't mess with that.
Can't mess with that, can you?
Because the gay mafia would come after him.
Of course. Yep. Who would have thought they'd be intimidated by a bunch of fairies?
Well, speaking of being intimidated by a fairy, the Flash has got some reactions out there now.
That was well done.
And of course, as suspected, it's getting a pretty decent rating because all the critics are all for it. It's got tons of whammon and they-them power in it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's going to be empowering and life-saving, too.
Yeah. Well, we got right off the bat a negative review, a 2 out of 5 here. For as much as all the talk of portending fate leads to dashing heroics in the extravagant The Flash, one can slow their roll, step back, and see plenty of the hot mess and crapshoot Michael Keaton's Batman was talking about in character. Oh, nice. Got a bunch of positive reviews here. Ezra Miller saves the Snyderverse. Well, there is no more Snyderverse.
No such thing.
It's done now.
Didn't save anything.
The Flash was a dazzling visual extravaganza. Of course it was. You get pumped for the multiverse. I'm hearing some stupid rumors about the ending, and I'll say it here just for the sake of saying it. Cover your ears for 2 seconds if you don't want a spoiler. 1, 2.
I got it.
George Clooney shows up at the end of the movie. Okay, which makes no fucking sense.
Are you kidding?
And there's people that are claiming he's going to be the Batman and the Brave and the Bold. I call bullshit on that, even if he is in the fucking movie.
I heard about
he's too fucking old.
From Chris Gore, and it let's just say when I heard about it, let's just put it this way, if you're a Superman fan and you didn't like Man of Steel, it's gonna probably make you hate Man of Steel even more and make you resent this universe or lack thereof a universe even more. Wait, I don't know if you want me to. Look,
it's already Man of Steel with tits. We already know that.
Man of Steel even more.
It'll make you hate Man of Steel even more.
Not me.
Make you and I, Claudia, from what I know, dude, I now hate Man of Steel even more.
It's not possible to hate as much as I do. It's not. I claim rights at number one.
You thought it could get worse. It gets better. AK, not AK,
or
worse.
Better, worsey.
I mean, can I give a spoiler alert on this one?
It's more like the people in the audience.
I mean, audience, can you? All right, Lance Corporal says, "Let's hear." I'm waiting to see these comments. Oh, I see more saying, "Hey, Debo, you hate Man of Steel
Stool
more."
more? How is it possible?
Nobody could hate it more than me. I claim the right.
Okay,
It's mine.
Okay, so what I heard on the open bar with Drinker and Chris Gore said that apparently they try to explain and kind of justify why Superman killed Zod. And I heard that, I was just like, fuck that.
I mean, what every
Fuck
single
that.
Snyder fan has been trying to do for the last 10 years?
Like
They
10
do
years.
that
Yeah.
movie?
Well, the stupidity of it is most people don't even disagree that necessarily he could have or should have or whatever killed Zod. It's the fact that he waited until how many fucking other people died. And then all of a sudden he gives a shit about the Brady Bunch.
Because if he has to see it, it's bad.
That's what I
You
mean.
give a
Like,
shit about all the other
and
people
he
who
himself killed God knows how many fucking people probably in that whole process. Like, that's the thing that Snyder doesn't think about. It's like, it's a Michael Bay thing, right? These people, they think, oh, I want this. And a J.J. Abrams thing, I want this big, huge fucking thing to come through and without thinking about the fact that, oh, tens of thousands of fucking people are going to die if you do that. Like, who had warning that fucking Clark and Zod are going at it in fucking Metropolis? Like, those cities that city's fucking destroyed. I mean, it's like 9/11 times 20. Yeah, nobody had time to get the fuck out of there.
It was like a DBZ fight. It was a
nobody got out of there. You saw at the end, they were being thrown up in the air and then dragged down to the terraforming thing. They were being crushed and killed every second of the way. They had no time to evacuate. They, and Superman decided instead of going to Metropolis to save them, let's go to the South China Sea or Indian Sea and fight a giant spider monster on a binary system that needs both to be activated in order to terraform. It's like, if you don't have to destroy one, go after the one that's involved lots of people. Like, if they see something out in the ocean, guess what? That's a warning. So everybody on land can be like, get in land, something's happening. You got time. But in the downtown central city of Metropolis with 20 million people as residents, no, there's nothing. There's no warning for them there.
Sorry, I can't even say that out loud.
Oh, wow.
What?
No, but you know everything you need to know about how Snyder views Superman when he literally drags the fight to Smallville.
He starts in Smallville, and then
It's like, dude, get him the fuck away from everything. What are you doing? Like, at least in the original Lester Donner Superman 2. You know, his whole thing is to try and get him away from the fucking city.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that keeps him there is when they attack the city and he has to save people.
Yeah. And then he leads them out.
Well, they accuse him of retreating. It's like, no. He's leaving to get them to follow him. So they quit hurting the fucking people.
Because he's Superman. This Man of Steel mopey boy is not Superman.
Superman is supposed to find a way, no matter the odds. Even if he's becoming Superman, that's part of becoming Superman, is to always find another way. What he did was and I hate that argument. Oh, he's becoming Superman. That is part of him becoming Superman, is to find that way, to not resort to that. That's part of his character, is that he doesn't have to resort to those methods. You ruin that idea, him finding another way, when that's when you resort to with Zod.
Of course.
Oh man, just absolutely antithetical to the character Superman.
And if they turn around and make Supergirl like so much better and
I already know what they're going to do with Supergirl.
Exactly.
I already know, and I think Klobby and I might. Klobby and I have read this Flashpoint comic.
Flashpoint dribble.
Yeah, Flashpoint. So basically, in the comic, Superman he's basically he's basically an experiment. He's in the Flashpoint world where he's being detained as an experiment that hasn't seen the sun for many years. And basically, the Flash and Thomas Wayne, aka the Flashpoint Batman, need to look for Superman so they could basically have some muscle to get their way out of the situation. So basically, they are doing that story, but with Bruce Wayne's Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, and Supergirl of this universe. So basically, Sasha Calle, no disrespect to her, but basically her character was a diversity hire, because in the story,
it was supposed to be Kal-El.
It was supposed to be Kal-El. Thank you, Klobby. It was supposed to be Kal-El. They're basically swapping their roles and make it Supergirl because she ticks a box. Like I said, no disrespect to Sasha Calle, but She's there to take a box.
It's
Whether
totally
she's talented
tick-
or not is
totally
a whole
box
separate
tick.
conversation.
Well, and my issue
Yes.
As far
is
as
she'll
why she's
have been.
banded,
My problem is this: she'll be
Right.
more virtuous than Clark was in Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, and he was raised by the Kents. She
But-
isn't.
Well,
She's raised
actually-
in a fucking facility.
But we see the types of family that Kala was raised by in Man
I
of Steel
know.
and Batman v
That's a
Superman. Kind
problem.
of better for
Yeah.
him to be, raised in a Russian holding cell for 20 years. Because again, if you want to be more virtuous than the Superman that Henry Cavill played, that doesn't take much effort. Because there's not much virtue to him at all.
You're not
Like-
wrong, and that's the thing. It's like, anyway, sorry. But anyway, Charles Pullman said, while the core conceit of Warner Brothers Discovery's The Flash is solid, the movie is too meta. Nostalgia plays highlight everything that has gone awry with the studio's superhero movie experiment. Sorry. Yeah, Rye. I always read it as Ari.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
That's one of my favorite ways to read it.
Ari. And Muschietti. Now everybody's thinking that just because Muschietti, this is another reason why that Batman that pops up at the end is going to be in his Batman movie. Because that's the new thing going around is he's directing Brave and the Bold.
He's going to go the way of Colin Trevorrow if he doesn't know how to pull up his bootstraps, because he is getting too big of deals too quickly right now for his britches.
Honestly, you want to know my theory on this script? Him getting Brave and the Bold, at least right now, is basically his consolation prize for this Flash universe thing not working out. Because we all know Flash 2 ain't happening. Not unless this movie makes $2 billion. And even then, they'd still have to think about
more
it.
than The Force Awakens in order to justify them staying the course.
Not a chance.
So I think him getting the Brave and the Bold is a consolation prize, and there's no effing way he's going to have a Batman that old with a 15 to 18-year-old son.
Well, regardless, it's still not going to be good for Andy Muschietti's career because, again, if the studios are dragging him outside of his comfort zone too quickly, he is going to end up like Colin Trevorrow, who we don't see him make anything anymore.
That may be, and part of that's just because this movie's been in production forever.
Yeah, he got very lucky with it. He's the 5th director brought in on The Flash.
Yeah.
He's going to be touted as a golden boy, even though he hasn't really earned it. Not yet. And I hope he does. But him being dragged through this before he's actually, built up his foundation as a filmmaker. Because, to do that, you have to have a couple of hits that you did yourself that people recognize your name. His name is not household recognizable yet.
Yeah.
And this movie's not really going to do it in a positive way at the end of the day.
There's a lot of people like this one here that says The Flash resets the universe in spectacular fashion. Yeah, it's resetting things, but I think people are misunderstanding. It's not so much a reset as it is an ending to the Snyderverse.
Epilogue, if you will.
Yeah, I still not even convinced that any of the shows that he has going on up until Superman are going to go anywhere after Superman comes. Because, yes, he has brought those up when he brought up his announcements, but if you listen to what he said, he specifically says, now here's where the true DCU starts. Superman Legacy. So I think that everything prior to that is just fodder at this point. And if anything does carry on, it's going to be a quasi version of his universe that he created with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker anyway, in which case it's still tainted by the Snyderverse, which I don't know how they're going to handle that. I really see it as being confusing to a lot of people. I mean, bringing back Viola Davis as a version of Amanda Waller is not as confusing as, say, Margot Robbie coming back as a completely different version of, Harley Quinn or something like that, or even Jason Momoa and all that business sticking around. Because, look, it's like the worst kept secret in Hollywood that he's going to be playing Lobo, but we'll see, I guess.
I definitely didn't see that coming.
I mean, listen, Momoa is the right type of actor for Lobo because he's not good at anything else. People forgot he was in Stargate Atlantis for many years.
No, I agree, Script. That role, his role is not relying on being a good actor. It's just relying on being a good alpha drunk, charismatic, filled with a bunch of one-liner dialogue. Basically an action hero, 80s, 90s, but with a DC makeover.
Kinda, I guess.
I don't even
we'll
say
have to wait and
he's
see.
an action hero.
Not.
Well, he's not like a hero, but he obviously he goes out, he kicks ass, he takes names, he spews out a bunch of one-liners, smokes his cigars. You know, he goes out there and he whoops ass. That's where I was getting the action hero part from.
Maybe he'll be in Superman Legacy as Lobo.
Could be. Maybe he's going to there to either be a bounty
Yeah,
hunter for
probably.
Superman, you know, or
at least a cameo, maybe at first. Yeah, probably.
That's where I was introduced to Lobo. Really, I think was through the Superman animated show.
Series.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that was my introduction as well.
Wow,
that was a good introduction for Lobo too. That's they played it with just the right level of comedy for him. But I mean, like Lobo really evolved quite a great deal before his debut in the '90s of in that show.
Yeah, I may have been aware of him before that, but that was like my first real knowledge of the character that I can think of. Yeah, this is what I was trying to say, but I don't want to stick up for Muschietti because I don't think he's that great of a director. Mike points out, to be fair, Muschietti started The Flash right after It Chapter 2. He hasn't been able to work on anything else because this is what I was trying to say.
Well, that's the point. He should never have been given The Flash in the first place. The guy was riding high off of It. He should have done a couple more films that weren't IP related, really stretch his directing chops and build some more skills. Instead, Warner Brothers at the time was desperate to get someone to direct this film because they'd already lost 4 directors, and they hired him, and he did the smart thing, which is never say no to a job, especially if it's from Warner Brothers, because they'll pay you regardless. And he ran with it. But again, I fear that the potential he had is probably going to be completely sucked out of him because he's going to be dragged through the tentpole directing process before he's actually built up the skills needed to direct a proper tentpole film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really care for his It remakes anyway. I know they did well.
Well, he did the one dumb thing which you brought up, which is he didn't shoot all the kids' stuff at the same time.
Well, that was partially on Warner, probably. I mean, I can't know because I think what they had done there, I don't know for sure. This is just me guessing. Is they weren't 100% sure this was going to work, so they did one, and if one wasn't going to work, they weren't going to spend the fucking money on 2. That's what I think was the case, and I think it did way better than they planned. Because I'm sure if they knew it was going to do that well, they would have just done that script.
They would have figured it out within the first week of dailies. They would have known and been like, okay, making sure that they did that. But given the fact that
I don't know,
part 2 is greenlit ridiculously quick before even the movie debuted.
Well, that's because they kind of had an idea of what it was going to do at that point. I think initially, though, I don't know if that's my point, is I don't think they had enough confidence in it until it got closer to release and they realized, oh, there is something behind this movie. Because I knew the first one was going to do well regardless, but not everybody did, I'm sure. But
I still think that's, I mean, even to a point, directors can do a lot within production and quote unquote reshoot.
In the very least, they should have allowed him a bit of time to, because there's not as much kids shit in the second film. That what they should have done is said, look, in case we do a second film, shoot the shit with the kids.
Get it done.
Is what they should have done. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, any good director and good producer would have done that anyways. Like, listen, if we don't know, we're getting it, do it anyways. We'll put it on special features, what have you. We can still monetize it.
Exactly.
And the fact that it wasn't fought for or even done, that raises red flags.
I know, and that's what I brought up to Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed the TV version, and he said, well, that's dumb, because that's the first fucking thing I did. Because I knew... He goes, I knew it'll go over. Yeah, kids grow. He goes, the first thing we needed is one of the kids to shoot up a foot overnight. And I think he even brought up that one of them ended up getting tall one time, so they had to shoot around it a little bit in some of the scenes. But it's one of those things of It, the original TV movie.
The TV special, which is the superior version of It.
It is technically, sadly, because even though it's not R-rated, it captures the spirit of the book a lot better than the remake did. The only thing I'll give the remake is that the ending part, they kind of came up with a visual way of doing the death of It that was less convoluted than the original TV version. That's about it. Because I do like the idea of them belittling him literally. Like, that was kind of clever. Because that's kind of the whole thing, is he feeds on their fear. So if they belittle him, he literally gets little. Like I thought, okay, that's kind of clever. Okay. But beyond that, I didn't think the second film was horrible compared to the first one, and the first one was barely good in my opinion. So, but no, I agree with us. I agree with you, Script, that Muschietti is not somebody who is a proven director yet. He got lucky. He got lucky with the first It.
Or
at
was
the end
he
of the
just
day.
cheap and affordable because he was available?
Well,
there's
he
also
didn't,
that too. But I mean,
he didn't have a
thing
hard
is
job. He's basically remaking a movie already. First of all,
Uh-huh.
and you were to say, Script, sorry.
Well, I mean, the thing is that he got lucky, and his potential is being squandered because he's been pulled in to fix something before he's actually figured out what his directorial voice is. And that's kind of what's some studios have been doing quite a bit lately, and why they've been plucking people out of the industry a lot earlier than letting them see, oh, can these guys go the distance? Because that's what you need, especially if you're going to a tentpole film, because it is draining. It like you could get really sick trying to direct a tentpole film just with the studio politics alone, and then you have the actors and their crazy nut job life. Like the only people you can actually rest and rely on are the crew, because they're normal. They're just there to do a job. They don't even care or like movies all that much. Most of them. They just like the fact that, I'm a good electrician. I do electric on films. Yeah, I'm a cinematographer. I like shooting stuff. I get cool compositions done. Yeah, I'm a grip. I grip. I do grip stuff.
I grip
things.
They don't just grip. That's what the hell. They grip the pole, I guess. I mean, but
oh, that's the boom operator. But like,
well,
whatever job is kind of like necessary within.
Yeah, they basically are like the gophers. They handle all the technical.
They're like
not setting up
that,
stuff and all that.
And then there's like your best boy and your DOP, your camera op, your focus puller, all those types of
They're
stuff.
the guys who are right underneath the DOP, right? Basically, they generally work with him.
They roam around. Like I've seen assistant directors.
Well, I mean, they usually set up like
more than DOPs or cinematographers,
scaffolding and help set up lights and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
run wire, shit like that. Bryant, this is a good question, and hold on to that thought, Script, because we got something that's going to kind of get into the business of that kind of stuff here in a minute. Who is better, Tim Curry or Bill Skarsgård? Well, I think the audience has already answered you on this. I think without a doubt, it's Tim Curry. And half of it is not Bill's fault. Half of the problem is I don't understand why. And I think Tommy even touched on this when I talked to him, and I've talked about it with a few other people. And then when they did the documentary recently about it, even Tim Curry brought this very thing up, is that they made Bill look ugly and scary from the start. Tim Curry knew you had to look and feel like a real clown to pull the kids in, and you don't get scary until they already are sucked in. And Tim could do it without any manipulation whatsoever. Like he just did it, right? Like the opening scene with the kid where he rips the arm off. I mean, he's luring him in with cotton candy and popcorn and balloons, and he looks like a fun clown. And all it takes is a couple of sharp teeth, and next thing you know, he is scary as fuck. And he was so scary in that scene that the kid said, "Tim, stop it. You're scaring me." And he's like, "Use it." Yeah. So I have to say Tim Curry did a much better job at the end of the day.
That you also have to go into the fact that Hollywood has really had a hard time nailing how to make clowns scary, because they go for the literal sense as opposed to the fact that it's not the makeup that's scary, it's the fact that it's covering up the scary person.
Ooh,
that's what you got to remember.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what Tim understood.
That is why, as much as I adore Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm not intimidated by a man with white face makeup and scars on his face, because I know exactly what I'm going to get when that person rounds the corner. With the Joker, when you don't see those types of things, where he looks like just a really like a master of ceremonies clown, anything is possible. And that's
basically the Jack Nicholson version.
Yeah. And Jack Nicholson version has the really grotesque permanent smile, which is kind of funny.
True.
Like,
okay, so we'll go with the 60s version, but
Cesar Romero is probably the best one. Only the sad thing is because it was a family show, he never got to do some really, really creepy stuff other than just make that laugh bone chilling.
No, but I agree, Script. I think that's a mistake, is when they go for the more grotesque Jokers, because to me it defeats the purpose. You're right.
Yeah.
Notice how
and
they
Tim-
Batman's supposed to be scary. Joker's supposed to appear harmless, and the opposite is true. That's the thing.
have you noticed as the more Batman series of movies that go on, they make Joker more and more uglier. He just looks stupider and stupider as they go on.
Well, that's the biggest flaw with the DC people that have been running DC for the last 30 years is that, actually almost 40 years, is that anything that catches on and is hot, they run with it until they burn it out. So the
like Marvel
weekend
with Deadpool and
that they
Spider-Man.
released the first image of Heath Ledger's Joker, the following month, you started seeing variations of that pop up in the comics.
Yeah. But also one thing Tim did was he rejected a lot of the prosthetics they were trying to put on him. Because he's like, no, I can do this without all this extra shit. He's like, you hired me to be scary. Let me fucking do my job. You don't need to cake all this crap on me. So the only thing he accepted was all they ever did for his makeup was they gave him a little bit of an extra bulb on the top of his head. So it looks like his head looks like a light bulb. And once in a while they did manipulate it with a little bit darker shadow, but otherwise he rejected any and all of the other scarier makeups they tried to put on him.
Yeah, he didn't need it. He'd been in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He knows how to scare kids.
No shit. It's so hard to have a good time. But that's the answer to that. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says nothing, but just been a member for 21 months. Thank you so much, Pinochet. Aurora Uplink says the makeup denies and refuses to be human looking. Well, yeah, and that's what I said. Like, I mean, if you're referring to like what they did with Skarsgård, the problem is though it looks scary and cracked and all crappy before he even transforms into Pennywise.
He doesn't look like a clown that could blend in with adults.
Exactly. Like it's where Tim Curry at first he does, and then all of a sudden he transforms, and he does have the inhumane look about him with the bulbous head, right? He has just enough, and that's what he said. I have enough. This is all I need, just to look a little non-human, and then beyond that, I can do the rest. Well, that's part of the bald cap, actually.
Yeah,
it's like this bulb. It's like a bulb over his head. It makes his head a little taller and bigger to where it looks like the shape of a light bulb, basically. Almost alien-like, huh? And then I'm like, clowns are potentially scary because you're looking for signs that there is a human being in the makeup. And okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and the properly acted, you can break from the norm. Yes, and that's why clowns are just inherently scary in general. That's true.
Well, they're not trying to hide the human stuff. They're distorting the pleasant aspect or the emotional aspect of the clown. So circus clowns have the happy face, the sad face, the angry face. Those are all embellished in the makeup, and that's the point of it, because audiences are about 50 to 100 feet away from the performers. They can't see what's actually going on in their face, so that's why the clown makeup was invented, so that you could see it from a distance. Big red lips or blue lips and big circles under the eyes, tears, all that stuff was done. Clowns were, considered the gladiators of the entertainment. They slew your demons and made you laugh. Like, that's what was their value.
Another mistake the newer film made was they went with more of the bozo look for Tim Curry's It, as opposed to Skarsgård. They went with the more French clown look, which looks fucking freaky in general, especially if you look at old clown photos from those French painted clowns. They just their makeups are kind of just weird. Like, and they're already kind of scary without even having to try. So that was another mistake in my opinion, but that's just a minor thing. But just going like against the grain, because the bozo clown look is just kind of the traditional American clown look. And when they went with that, I mean, yeah, they're trying to make him look more ancient or whatever, but to me, it was just kind of takes away from what you're trying to do here. Jack White says, new series recommendations for the panel. Eden Zero Hell's Paradise. Wow, never heard of that one. Eden Zero Hell's Paradise. Couldn't you just summed it up with Eden's Paradise or Hell's Paradise? I mean, I don't get the zero thing. Okay. I'll never know I never can understand that. I've been getting killed by the anime kids on Twitter all day. I don't know if you guys saw that. Because I made the mistake of pointing out that new Superman cartoon is an anime style. They're like, don't you be calling this shit anime. It's like, okay, I'm just saying that the style kind of reminds me. I'm not saying it's good anime. But you get the bug eyes and the sharp edges and the way it's animated.
The very limited detail in the face. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I just want Western animation back in my Western shit.
Indeed.
Nothing against Eastern animation, nothing against anime. It's just two different stuff, man.
Not your bag, but
okay. That's two separate series. Okay, because Hell's Paradise, I'd say that kind of sounds like a decent title. Yeah. So Eden Zero and Hell's Paradise. Gotcha. Got ya. Thank you, DCB Titan, as well, for pointing that out. That makes a little bit more sense. Let's see here. What I got here for you guys next is that even though the writers are still working on shit, right? Script, as far as the guild.
Well, they're picketing.
Oh, they're still picketing, and they're not talks or anything going on yet.
Talks won't happen until after SAG-AFTRA finishes their negotiations.
It's funny you asked that. Bring that up because SAG-AFTRA fights for AI regulation to protect the soul of entertainment. This is tomorrow. You said they're going in.
Yep, they start negotiations tomorrow.
So yeah, this is mainly what I wanted to ask you about. It says here the union represents 160,000 members who work in front of the camera and behind the microphone. And is no stranger to disruptive technologies. The history of the entertainment industry is one of constant change, and our union has been tracking the rise of AI and other innovations for years, assessing how they might impact our members and the public at large. What's important to understand is that SAG-AFTRA is not fighting to ban the use of AI, whether on screen in music or video games, or any of the other areas we cover. The technology opens up creative possibilities, but it cannot come at the expense of people. So here's what they're doing to prevent the misuse of AI. An actor's brand is their voice and likeness, and SAG-AFTRA has long been working to promote state laws that safeguard a person's right of publicity so they can't, for instance, be used to promote a product they didn't agree to. I think that's already pretty much in place, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We are also working with lawmakers on legislation to protect voice and likenesses on a federal level, specifically in Express Works. The aim is to prevent people's voices and images from being simulated without their consent. Okay, so that's something that I think probably should be addressed, because even though they are protected under laws specifically now, they probably need to be broadened a little bit to specify. Wouldn't you say, Script? Or
not so much to specify, but cover potential details in the future, because the more specific you make the law, the easier it is to get around it. So one of the aspects here, this would probably dovetail into the fact that currently it is illegal to take footage from an actor from a film, television series, guest appearance, what have you, and manipulate it to endorse your product without, getting permission from the actor or the people that own the footage and the rights to do it in that way. So the only workaway around that is through parody, which means that you're technically not selling something. So if they were to try to take, say, the commercial in Ghostbusters, those three guys, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and they were to manipulate it so that it would be part of, say, a restaurant chain, the restaurant chain would be charged with theft of intellectual property, misuse, and misrepresenting, and false advertising, and so forth. Plus the theft of likenesses, characters, and IP from studios, the actors, and their estates, so forth and so forth and so forth. So, yeah, you just have to expand it to include that an AI can't generate it, because in order for an AI to do so, they'd have to take existing footage to generate.
I was just going to say, because I think that's where the difference comes in here. Thank you, Script. That's exactly where I was going to go with this, because there's already plenty of laws on the books that you can't use footage, can't use people's likenesses. In fact, Robert Meyer Burnett's having an issue right now where somebody is using an image of him with what was it, a Batmobile, I think it was, or something like that. Yeah, the 66 Batmobile. And they're trying to claim that that's the one they're selling on some like Wish.com type website, not the exact Wish, but one of those kind of websites.
One that's associated with the Facebook ads and all that.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like one of those kind of websites, and they're using his image right now, and he's trying to get it taken down, but he's having a rough time with it. But he's also not like Tom Cruise, right? So if I could try doing that with Tom Cruise, that shit ain't gonna last 10 minutes. But I see what you're saying here. This is a thing where, because AI is technically creating something new, and somebody could argue, well, this is kind of like parody. It's no different than if I were to do a parody of Jaws. I just have me and my buddies dress up like the characters in Jaws, and we do a parody of Jaws. As long as it's a parody, falls under the protection of parody. As long as we're not using any of the original footage, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Signed, dotted on the line. See, that's already protected, but I see what you're saying here. This is going to the further extent, and this is what I meant by not getting more specific, but clarifying at least that even AI is, even though it's considered an original thing in a way, it's technically not. And that's what you're getting at, is because it's still, and this goes back to our conversation about writing, where it's still drawing from things that already have been created by humans at the end of the day.
And it's not coming from the same place that a human being draws inspiration or reference to.
Right.
There's something very, very different. Humans has the capacity to create something from nothing, where AI cannot. No machine can. The whole definition of the machine is that it takes input and processes it to produce output. And the processing part is
it takes the input of its maker, whatever the maker gives it, and that's where it starts and stops.
It actually stops the instant the creator finishes their thing. Nothing really changes as a result of it. Whatever information comes out goes back to that original human being, and then they take it and do something with it, which the computer could otherwise not do.
No, but what I think Nick is trying to say is, like, when I was trying to pull out my stories, it was basically just pulling shit from Google or Wiki or wherever that's out there that it was connected to that it could use, or what Nick is saying, like what you actually train the AI with. Right?
Yes, that's exactly what I was alluding to. Yeah.
So you're limited to whatever you feed it as information at the end of the day, which is, again, like you just said, Script, ostensibly once that ends, there's no further that it can go from there, really, to learn anything more or change anything or do anything original.
You could put a fully interactive AI in a cave for 30 years and nothing will happen. But you put a child in a cave with food to live, it will find its way out of that cave. It'll probably have drawn stuff. it'll learn to walk. It'll do all the things that an AI would never feel any need or requirement to do.
Right. And Max, the answer to who'd be the shark, we'll just put a fin on her. She likes to swim and play in the water.
Nice.
Oh, if I say the BATH word, she'll be up here right now, probably. She hasn't moved since earlier, though. She's sort of out of it yet. And she's going to be for a few hours, the doc said. I was just trying to get her to go to sleep before the show, so I didn't have to worry about her. But yeah. Poor girl, but she's doing good. She's pulled through good, guys, so thanks so much. Anyway, and then it goes on to say we're promoting stronger federal copyright protections for humans. We believe using copyrighted works to train generative AI is infringement, and that AI-created work cannot be copyrighted. Well, that just goes off of what we were just saying. We will have publicly stated our position grounded in federal labor law, namely acquiring rights to train an AI system with a performer's voice and likeness, or using an AI system to create a new performance using a performer's voice and likeness must be bargained with a union. Okay, so basically the short version of this is, right now, if this goes through, if something happens here, you won't be able to do YouTube videos anymore without the original actor's permission, probably, is the way it's looking at too, or anything for that matter.
Well, they're just looking at it as another revenue stream, where if you can't get the actor and you want to use an AI version of them and they're unavailable, they can license out an AI version of that for that particular piece, for only that particular piece and specificity.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it also kind of puts it in the place of, doesn't matter if it is AI, it's still that person's voice and face. Yes. That's the point.
Oh yeah. Like, even if they try to do the AI where they take, say, two famous actors that are states are dead, and they get an AI to generate what a possible child would be like of them, and then age them up to be an actor, it's still not going to work. The estates would still have to have permission to sign off on that for you to make such a travesty or an abomination, whatever you want to call it.
And I'm just saying, like, it might make it harder for people to do like a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that. But anyway, so in the broader aspect, though, Script, what is this? Do you think SAG is going to come to do you think this is going to work out quickly? Do you think it's not going to turn into a strike, or do you think this has a chance of going into a strike? Because it seems like the directors didn't have a hard time negotiating, but you guys did, and it now sounds like this is we'll find out tomorrow how this works out. But what's your initial take on this?
Well, I know that the actors overwhelmingly voted to strike if a deal is not met, so it's in the Alliance for Motion Pictures and Television Producers ballpark to negotiate and see what happens. what the actors are requesting for AI is perfectly reasonable because they're looking at it just the same way you'd license out a photo of them for a magazine or what have you. You negotiate in the sense that you're asking, they're marketing the very image and voice that they have built as a product, and you're just kind of removing them from the process of it, in which case they're saying, no, you can't remove us. You either use us as the real thing, or if you want to use an AI version of us, you got to pay X dollars amount and get our permission to do so. I think that's perfectly fine in that regard. It's protecting their rights, and it's kind of in the same vein of what's happening with the writers. They're basically saying, like, we don't want an AI to take our style, learn from our style, and try to recreate something else. Not unless you give us a lot of money, or just don't do it at all. In fact, I'm a big supporter of the don't do it at all, because it takes away, the writer's voice, and you're trying to mimic it, and you're never going to recreate it as well. You'll recreate a lot of hacks as well, because they didn't have a voice to begin with, but real writers that can actually move you, create characters that you're invested in, that get you on the edge of your seat when you're watching, whether it's on a big screen or a television, that an AI has yet to be able to do. And negotiations are going to go on for a few days, so we won't get an answer by the end of day Wednesday.
Okay, that was going to be like one of my next questions. Is
Yeah,
how long
the
do you think
deal
it's
that
going to
they
take?
have, I think, doesn't expire until July.
Okay.
So they've got many weeks to reach an agreement.
Because if this comes to a halt, this is like, again, with like the Directors Guild, it's really going to be bringing everything to a dead screeching halt on movie sets and TV sets, because without actors, you can't do anything. So
pretty much. I mean, right now, the other part too is that directors haven't been able to go on set or do any work either, because they have to cross the picket line, and they can't. And a lot of them have been trying to do it remotely, and it's not been working out well. So, yeah, with one of these unions down, yeah, there's very little that that you can do. If there was only like an actors union union strike, and writers and directors was still able to work, the directors could still talk with writers, come up with pitches, and pitch to studios to start production, but they won't be able to actually go until they get a cast, which means that you're still held up in some regard. If the actors are if the directors on strike and the actors and writers are working, well, then the writers and the actors, they work together to come up with new properties for them to pitch to studios, and then again, it can't go through until the directors, like, it doesn't matter, any one of those three that's on strike, the other two will not be able to do as much as they would normally otherwise. So until a deal is reached for the WGA, most likely the business is not going to be moving much further. They'll probably echo very similar to how it was in 07-08, where you just had a lot of empty television, spontaneous live shows, and just the dependency on re-airing reality TV.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how it goes. Nick, Klobby, any comments on the possibility of a SAG strike or anything else on the AI business?
Nothing here. I mean, obviously, I everything I'm learning about this, I'm learning from you guys, and obviously, whatever arguments the companies are making, both sides of the aisle. So I'm just listening and just seeing how it plays out. I got nothing to add. And Klobby said BRB, so
yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think we're done with our stories. We've got a couple of super chats here. Okay, we got this one already. Shinatsky says SAG-AFTRA and WGA suicide is painless. Well,
I don't know what you're referring to there. It's not like
that's the song from MASH.
Yeah,
but I don't. Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah.
I don't get it. We're not hurting ourselves in this. The fact the WGA was hurting themselves while they were working because of all the crap that they were able to get passed through studios. This right now is helping them.
And then IMAV says, how is AI generated voice different than impersonators? Do impersonators have to pay royalties? That's a very good question, IMAV.
Well, impersonator is usually part of a comic.
Usually, yeah.
And
they're credited and all that kind of business. Yeah, they generally.
You can also take a look at, I can't remember the comedian's name, but he actually did voice work for Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, and then was later hired for the cartoon show. and Jim Carrey had to sign off on him to do that because he was
I don't remember who did the Ace Ventura one, but Matthew Fuhrer did him on the Dumb and Dumber one. Speaking of which,
that was a good transition. Yes, Dumb and Dumber, Toxic Tuesday in under 45 minutes. It's gonna be a fun time. Looking forward to talking about it. A Fairley Brothers classic, and obviously a movie that brought Jeff Daniels back into comedy when he originally was taking a break from it, doing other stuff, and it brought him right back to it. It's gonna be fun to talk about.
They're saying it's Rob Paulson in the chat. I can see that, I guess. I can see it. But no, I think Script's right. In most cases, though, I've never seen a situation where they were trying to pass off outside of like a TV edit or something like that, where they've ever tried to, or an ADR situation like Script was just talking about here, where they've ever tried to pass off an imitator as the actual voice. And even then, they still get credited. Like even I believe in Superman 2, I think because they had to do a bunch of voiceover work for Gene Hackman because he didn't come back to film in Superman 2. So that's why his voice sounds like crap when he was like, mush, Miss Tessmacher, mush. It's not his voice. Some dude just doing an impression of him. Yeah. Like the other line was, what is it when they dump him off at the entrance of the Fortress of Solitude? Something about the service around here. I can't remember, but it's not him. So yeah, you get that once in a while, but like other than that, no. Like I've never seen an instance where somebody's tried to pass off an original, like or a voice actor trying to pass off as an original actor, and them lying about it. I've never seen a Milli Vanilli situation. Let's say. Usually people know. And with that, I think we're gonna wrap this up. What do you guys say? I was hoping we get Mikey before we left, but
let's get it prepped for Toxic Tuesday. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun with that one.
Harry, we took care of it.
Pretty bird. Oh man.
Dumb and Dumber Kids, one of the greatest comedies ever. Definitely top 10. One of the best road movies ever too.
Yeah, road movie, and it was a perfect 3-punch for Jim Carrey because he did The Mask, Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber, and if I recall, he shot them all one at a time each too. So that had to have been like
he shot Ace Ventura was first, and then he shot Mask and Dumb and Dumber back to back.
And Dumb and Dumber, what a trio, man! And that was all
actually
94.
There's an interesting story about Robert Shea told us about trying to get Jim Carrey for The Mask 2. Because he originally had signed a deal for a lot cheaper. And then when The Mask, Ace Ventura before that, The Mask came out finally while he was they were finishing up Dumb and Dumber. And, it was before Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber came out, and then they were trying to get him back for The Mask 2 because they had a contract, but they were trying to renegotiate because I think he was only get like 1.5 million or 2 million for The Mask 2. And he had already gotten a $10 million payday for Dumb and Dumber, I believe. Or was it Ace Ventura 2 he got the $10 million? No, Ace Ventura 2 he got the $10 million payday for. Dumb and Dumber, I think he got like 2 or 4 million. Can't remember which. I think it was 2. Because they got into a fight. Yeah, because they got into a fight because after that, when he did those 3 movies in a row back to back to back, and then also he got to he used the fact that they wanted him for Batman Forever to negotiate the deal, and they never ended up making the Mask 2 because, or at least with him, because he ended up wanting like 15 million, I think it was that Bob Shea said, and they just couldn't swing it. So instead we got that other crappy sequel, but he did get, I think, 10 million for Ace Ventura 2, if I remember right.
The Mask did well, but yeah, apparently not well enough for them to spring for that.
I remember they made a cartoon off The Mask. They tried to do a Mask.
Oh, they did, and they did the Mask sequel with what's his face from Scream.
Oh yeah, Son of the Mask. Was it Jamie Kennedy?
Jamie Kennedy, yeah.
That first movie is one of the rare times when it's a good thing they didn't adapt the comic book.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
You could not have adapted that comic book.
It's almost its own thing in a weird way. The only thing it shares is just the concept, really. Because
Yeah, it
after
has some
that,
of the
they're
same
two very
characters.
different things. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
they're
yeah, they have
so
some of the same
different.
characters, but like, yeah,
By name, yeah.
the whole
Very
tone is way different. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. It was pretty disturbing, the comic book. It was funny, but it was disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another. I
Dark Horse.
remember discovering kind of like Ninja Turtles. I was like, "Holy shit, what the hell is this?" Like,
Yeah, it's a good comic, but it
Men
was
in Black was kind of the same, but not exactly. Men in
Yeah.
Black is just so straightforward, and then you see the movie, and it's like a comedy.
right.
And it's like,
That's right. Yeah, it's
yeah.
nothing like the. Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, we got Toxic Tuesday coming up in just a little bit here. So head on over there. I got this set to send you there. Script Doctor, what you got coming up?
No, I just have my my brief Spider-Verse review on my channel that dropped yesterday. Go check that out if you haven't already. And I'm currently working on some more posts for my Patreon. So that's something interest of you. Writing tips, character breakdowns, screenplay reviews, all that and more on my Patreon if you sign up.
Awesome sauce. Clobby, what you got coming up?
I think I don't know if we're having comic book roundtable tomorrow night at Loki's at 7 Central, but if we are, I'll be there with him. And other than that, I'll have my wild card Wednesday night tomorrow night, and then the Clubhouse Thursday night with Raquel and Mark, of course, and then that's 9 Central, and Saturday Night Star Trek is also 9 Central on Saturday night. Duh. And of course, I'll be hanging out with Nick Friday night, I think. Well, are we having a show? That's not Friday night, right? We're not having one, are we?
We might. If we do, we'll be doing a shorter edition since I'll be in Dallas. I'm still figuring out the logistics. If I could do a show even for an hour or so, I'll let you know, Bobby.
Dude, you're on a trip, man. Don't even sweat it, dude.
Well, we're doing TNT in person. We're doing TNT in person, so yeah. We're also going to be making content even on vacation.
Dude, it's Friday night you're on a vacation. Don't even worry about it, man. I'd say.
Thank you, sir. You're too kind.
I'm giving you the night off. No. Unless you want to get Mark, make Mark run it for you, and you can call into it.
Yeah, right. yeah. No, I would actually trust Mark with running. I would let him.
We take care of you, but
power.
It's Friday night. There was enough for him showing up last week for the 100th episode. Anyway, thanks, Tom, for having us, bud.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for being here. So yeah, I'll be over on Nick Weiser's channel here in just a little bit. Hope to see you guys there. And we got another member chat. It looks like here, according to D-Bud. Let me see here. We had John Capola, who's been a member for 6 months, says, remember today is D-Day, moment of respect and silence. Oh, I didn't even realize it was D-Day today.
Oh yeah, did my stuff this morning for that.
Yeah. Totally. I have had such a long day today. It's been just anyhow. Thank you again, everybody, so much. We appreciate it here at the channel. Hit the like button. And if you want to find a magazine to replace Mad Magazine in your life, since Lord knows that you've had this void ever since it has gone woke and gone bye-bye, I think you should check out Flip City. Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.